Hey, what's going on, guys? I want to welcome you all back to David and Fatima Remy Live. And, before we get started on this video, I just want to say thank you to all the subscribers.
Yes.
To the returning visitors. And even the one that just popped their head in for a little while. Really appreciate you all for coming by and sitting down and fellowshipping with us for a little bit. But, my wife got some stuff that she want to get off her chest. She got some stuff she want to get off her chest. Subject matter is menopause.
Perimenopause.
Perimenopause. I don't know why they call it menopause. It's a win-win for me. It's a win-win for me. It's a win-win for me. But we finna get into menopause, and but it do affect me. I'm not gonna say it don't affect me, but it do affect me. It do affect me though. Just seeing what my wife going through and the mood swings and the ups and downs, the bloating and all that stuff, man. I mean, she gonna get into it, but I'm just here for that spousal support. But they need to change that name, that menopause. It's a weird. Listen, you guys know what I'm talking about. The men watching this video, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. I get an extra month. Sometimes I get an extra 15 days. Anyway. Let me let Fatima do what she do.
Hey, y'all. So, of course, my husband has already given you all the intro. And I did want to have the discussion, perimenopause and does it, because I, basically posed it as a question.
Right.
Does it cause men to pause? And of course, you already got the snippet from my husband. So he says, no, it don't cause him to pause. But I honestly think that it's necessary to get the husband's perspective, and perhaps, even some encouragement can be offered to the husbands, because it is, a challenging time, when our bodies as wives start going through what it goes through.
I mean, I would say, heart to heart, we don't want to see our men really don't want to see our wives going through the ups and downs, the mood swings. I mean, it does, it bother me, it touch me. I feel quote unquote sorry for her, but it's that part of it's a part of life, right?
Yes.
It's a part of womanhood. So, I mean, it don't cause me to pause. I want to see how many times I'm gonna go back to that during the course of this video.
So it doesn't cause you to pause. It gives you the advantage. However, there may be some husbands or some wives who may be experiencing, the symptoms, if you will, in more intensity. And it's just a thing, because, I have my moments, and like you said, with the bloating and, the weight gain and all of that type of stuff.
Right.
So it can be quite discouraging.
Right.
So I'm grateful, y'all, for my husband, because, he has definitely a sense of humor, and he's a jokester. So, but it helps lighten it for me, especially when it just, becomes so strenuous and just so frustrating.
Well, I want to be right there by your side, from your side. So, if she sitting on the couch, got her feet kicked up, and, I can assist her with, brewing some tea or some hot water, or even massaging her feet, which she don't want me to do, or giving her a back massage or a back rub, which she normally don't want me to do. I'm extending it. I'm right there by her side, from her side, extending, my
yourself to, provide comfort.
Yeah, to provide comfort, to her, for her. But again, menopause.
So it's called perimenopause, not technically yet menopause. So I'm headed towards menopause. Menopause is actually the time whereas there's no more period.
Oh, okay.
So a woman will cease from menstruating.
So in fishing, that'll be the pre-spawn. So I'm saying, like, we got the pre-spawn, we got the fish when the fish be spawning, and then we got the post-spawn. So you would...
Whatever makes you understand.
Listen, I'm just trying to get some understanding, some clarity for myself. So right now, you were the pre-spawn phase.
Okay.
So.
Well, pre-spawn, if that's how you want to, understand it, but.
Well, no, because in the pre-spawn, we catch a lot of fish in the pre-spawn. I don't think I want to. Well, you in the menopause.
I'm in perimenopause.
Perimenopause.
Right. So that comes before menopause.
So menopause is when you don't see nothing at all.
You don't see anything anymore.
Oh, okay.
Right. So right now, like you, so
but the perimenopause is working in my favor too now. So I know when the menopause get here, it's gonna be a party. See you. When that menopause get here. Oh my goodness.
Oh God.
The Perry, hit and miss, boom, 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 give me an extra,
Right.
It's okay, because the menstrual cycle, how does for the men that don't know, how does the menstrual cycle work?
Well, typically, women, when you reach a certain age, girls, when you reach a certain age, you start getting a menstrual cycle.
Right.
And you should get that menstrual cycle monthly. Okay? Now...
And it lasts for how long?
That differs.
3 weeks?
It can, less than that. Not 3 weeks. That can be a sign of irregularity. However, typically, a couple of days before, so I did.
We might get into that. But okay, so the menstrual, like 3, 4, 5 days.
Correct.
Is a normal cycle. Right.
Could be considered a normal cycle. Okay. And it varies. The time spans varies.
Right.
From female to female.
Right.
So right now, and actually there's some young ladies who have went or started experiencing perimenopause even earlier on.
Right.
Because typically they suspect that you should begin to get into the perimenopause, leading into menopause in your 50s, early 50s, late 50s, or it can be earlier than that because, of course, I'm not in my 50s.
Right.
But, so
how old do you all think she is? Put it in the chat. Put it in the comments. How old do you all think she is?
So a menstrual cycle should come on, or a young lady should see her menstrual monthly.
Right.
Now, there are the other reason why a person may not see their menstrual. Of course, I say this for a woman who's mature, could actually be too if she's pregnant. Because if she
won't see it.
Yeah, right.
Right, yeah.
So nonetheless,
you got some don't you have some women see it all the way through their pregnancy, right?
That's
a rare case.
In rare cases, it's on you, but it has happened.
Okay, so put it in layman's term, right? We gonna do these in round numbers. So, you got 30 days in the calendar.
30 or 31.
Right? Yeah. Let's just pit it down to 30 days. We got 30 days, right? So 25 days action for us married folk. 5 days, hold up, wait. So you got her, we call her redhead friend. I say, I say, your redhead friend in town. All right, so 5 days. All right, it's a standstill for us civilized folk. And then it cycles again.
So
right? So now with the perimenopause, and when she get into menopause, but she on this perimenopause, we might get, if we in favor, I'm not gonna say the L word, some folk like to use that L word, but if for the men, if we in favor during that perimenopause, we might get all 30 days. And sometime and sometime even longer, because last month you skipped like a whole month, right?
You're right. I skipped February. Red did not come.
No, she ain't come. And yeah, I had fun in February. Let's see. She got some notes. Let her get to her notes. But I had fun in February.
No, but honestly, no, this is good because
we married 20 years. 20 years in December, folks. So
yeah, but I think there probably needs to be a lightened perspective actually put on it, because other than that, ladies, you all know what our bodies tend to go to, but this helps lighten it up. You can just actually look at it differently. So right. Like with my husband, I pose it as a question, like, do perimenopause cause men to pause? Y'all already see it don't cause them to pause. If Red is slow about coming or decides not to come, then he's on and popping, and it just gives us more of an opportunity to enjoy ourselves.
Right.
Now, what could actually be frustrating with that is because your cycle now is beginning to kind of change up. You don't know when she will come. Mm-hmm. So she just popped up the latter part here of March. Right. And so, of course, I wasn't expecting her, even though I kind of like start sensing that, she was, kind of like on her way. But what my mom actually shared with me, because my mom is full menopause. But one of the things my mom said to me is that even though she's in menopause, she still get all of the symptoms, like with the cramps and different things like that.
So that happens.
Right, because how God created our bodies. Mm-hmm. So we still get the symptoms like, we're going to menstruate, but we don't. Mm-hmm. So my mom still goes through those periods, but she does not have a menstrual cycle. Mm-hmm. Wow. So, but yeah, so honestly, sweetheart, and I thank you for giving your playful perspective and your viewpoint on it, because I just think that it will help just husbands overall. And I hope too that this video allows for wives to pretty much be able to open up and create dialogue with their spouses, with their husbands, to let their husbands know what they really are going through. Because because honestly, I was dealing with some shame. My doctor told me back in 2023, when I did my annual back in 2023, that's when she advised me that everything went well with my annual, but she did advise me that the signs showed that I was actually entering perimenopause. Mm-hmm. Now, she didn't go into a whole lot of discussion as to what I should expect. And honestly, somebody else may feel some sort of way about that. But me personally, I appreciate her not disclosing a whole lot of the symptoms. Right. Because, another person's symptoms does not necessarily have to be my symptoms. But
you are experiencing irregular periods.
Well, right now it just started. So February I skipped. She showed up, March.
Hot flashes and night sweats.
Yes. So
I'd be like, baby, you burning up. And I'll go right back to the side of my bed, my side of the bed, if you will. Baby, you burning up.
He touched me, y'all, one night, like it was hot, like you touch a stove, like this.
Yeah, it was scary.
And he was like, sugar, you all right?
Yeah.
And so, because honestly, it's like, so all of those things. So wives, just talk to your husbands, about everything, like what you're experiencing. Because again, whatever your body is going through, it affects them too.
It does.
I
mean, we've been connected for so long, so I mean, I can't explain it. God is all. We connected, so when she be feeling a certain type of way, I feel a certain type of way as well. So let me go down some more. Let me go down the list on some of the things I have listed. Mood swings.
Let's stop right there. Don't just skip past that. So as far as mood swings,
I got it bunched up as 3, baby. Let me get the people all 3 on mood swings, anxiety, or depression. Mood swings.
So as far as the mood swings, I do find myself sometimes just, kind of like alone or not as talkative.
I can sense her mood swings, and what I would do is I just would leave her alone until she come back to me. And then, by midday or later on in the day, she'll be herself. Mm-hmm. But I can sense the mood swings. Mm-hmm. It's not a place that I want her to be at or a place that I want us to be in because, we always communicating. She's always communicating. I'm always listening. Mm-hmm. But, we just interact with each other, so much that, that little mood swing, that quiet time is not a place where, I would like for us to be at. But, it's a part of, womanhood. It's a part of that phase in life that she is going through right now, and I understand it. And, I appreciate her.
Thank you.
I don't appreciate the mood swings.
Right.
But you know what? Fatima is a humble young woman. Some of the stuff I see online concerning like mood swing with other women, it's far from that with my wife. Her mood swings ain't nothing like a Bridezilla or a Godzilla type of deal. It's low key for me. Mm-hmm. It's not like raging HELL. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty much her just like being quiet and just, staying to herself type of mood swing. Mm-hmm. It ain't nothing, yelling at me, screaming at me, go do this, go do that. It's not that type of mood swing.
Right. And thank you, sweetie, for, just bringing some clarity to that and that's why I say it's different, from woman to woman. And again, this is my husband and I talking about our current experience. And it's not to actually, shade anybody or any woman that is really having a difficult time, really just containing her emotions.
I just seen, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm reading down my list and I just seen something that she be experiencing, but go ahead, baby. Finish.
So, but again, allowing your husband, talking to your husband. And if you find it difficult to talk to your husband, then maybe it will be helpful to get someone to mediate the conversation. Perhaps your doctor can, mediate the conversation because it's important, husbands and wives, that you both be able to talk to each other about it.
I agree.
Because the Bible says that, my body belongs to him and his body belongs to me. So if there's anything happening with our bodies, then we are equally affected.
Right.
And so that's why I want to share with him. And sometimes, let me put this out there too, sometimes you don't even know how to share it because you're trying to understand it yourself. Mm-hmm. So earlier on, I was just dealing with different stuff and I was dealing with some shame because once, my husband and I, unfortunately, we lost a child. So when the doctor actually advised me that now I'm leading, or my body is showing signs now, whereas it's entering into perimenopause, that brought with it, for me, and I'm not saying this has nothing to do with the impossibility of God, but it just said to me, oh man, this basically just decreases my chances, or our chances even more, of actually having a baby. So, so you just go through those different things or what have you. But again, as different things are happening with your bodies, just, allow yourself to be able to share with your spouse. And again, if it's difficult to have the conversation, or you find that it's challenging to have the conversation, then maybe you want your doctor to just mediate the conversation, so that the husband can, also understand what's actually happening with you.
Good stuff, babe. I have on here anxiety or depression.
So
you
both of those.
Both of those.
Yeah, both of those.
Yeah. And you have expressed, when you are in that mood or in that phase, you have, shared it with me, whether we at home, on text or phone call, and, pray for me, baby. You asked me to pray for you, so on and so forth. So, I'll lift her up, or I'll call her and pray with her right there, or I'll pray with her. If we at home, I'll pray with you before you leave out, leave out to go to work or whatever, or and we just, laying back, sitting on the couch. So, she do share with me when she in that phase. And again, we've been connected or been together for so long, I can sometimes sense it when she in that phase. Sometimes I be a hard head, I keep on messing with her, it's just, it's not necessarily to really, irk her in any type of way. It's almost trying to
lift me up,
lift her up, change that mood swing, but yeah. Sleep disturbance.
Nah.
Well, you be knocked out, boy.
My body is like on a timer, so
yeah, you be knocked out.
Yeah,
boy.
it doesn't bother my sleep at all.
No, one thing I can say about you definitely get your 8 hours of sleep, boy. You get your 8 hours of sleep. This is where I did that about 2-3 minutes ago. Vaginal dryness, discomfort during intimacy. We have experienced that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And good list, babe. Yeah, B-Babe, awesome list. Because I wouldn't have never thought of, perhaps, some of those things, but
yeah,
that's those definitely, vital. Because
and let me say this, when your wife is experiencing that, early on, you didn't really know that you was experiencing that. So we'll be in the act of intercourse, and she'll be like, baby, I'm experiencing vaginal dryness. We got to pull out. You got to hold your horses. We're going to call it hold your horses. And you just got to, it ain't like it's a one-night fling. We talking about your spouse. We talking about your wife. So, you got to hold your horses. And, go about your day. Get back on the couch and watch TV. But now it's just like, I think a couple of days ago, you was like, you mentioned that, you can feel some dryness. Or
right, I can sense, that there's some dryness. So to that, and thank you, B-Babe, for bringing this out, because I remember when I started experiencing, and we will actually be in the middle of intercourse, and I was saying that I was like, I was having some pain.
Yeah, you'll feel some pain.
And I honestly, at that time, didn't know what it was. And so I remember speaking to my doctor about it, what have you. And, you know, they got different
Ointments.
Gels that you can actually use, or lubricants, if you will.
Right.
But we use all natural coconut oil. So
And they work wonders.
it does. Okay, so
But during that time when she's feeling that discomfort, it ain't gonna work.
right, because
The discomfort's still gonna be.
right, the discomfort is still there. But you know, again, you know, just be prayerful and give yourself grace.
But that all natural coconut oil, yeah, it's the go. It's a game changer.
Right, it's really really good.
For standardized intimacy. We ain't talking about none of that other crazy stuff. I'm talking about just standardized intimacy. It still work wonders.
Yes.
Yeah, she still, you know, what's the? I don't know the pretty word to use, but she still get wet. I'm sorry.
Right. Well, yeah. You know, I still, you know, get satisfied. You know, and enjoy
during foreplay, but
Right.
that coconut oil, that all natural coconut oil is good stuff.
Yes. And because intimacy, of course, you know, we both as spouses, we should enjoy each other, right? So it's not a one-sided thing. And I'm saying this, you know, because I want my husband to enjoy me. Likewise, he wants me to enjoy him. So if a wife is experiencing that level of dryness and that vaginal dryness,
Hold your
husbands
horses.
understand it is painful.
Hold your horses.
It is, you know, and it's difficult to even explain. So it's not if your wife is showing signs or she's saying to you that, hey, you know, it's painful or what have you, don't receive it as she's withholding from you.
Right. It's not that joyful pain, not that pain that want to make us men feel like a macho man.
Right.
Because, you know, guys, you know, when you know, you with your spouse or, you know, you're doing your thing and, you know, and she's reacting in a certain way, that makes us feel a certain type of way. But it's not that kind of pain. It's that kind of pain where you need to hold your horses and get your butt back on the couch and watch
Right.
some Martin reruns.
Right. But just understand that. And I just
Yeah,
want to
just
encourage the,
understand.
you know, the
Be
husbands,
patient. Be
you know,
compassionate.
to, you know, unless there's some other dynamics happening or going on within, you know, your marriage that is contributing to the withholding. So we don't know that. We're just
Right.
dealing with, you know, the topic at hand right now. So as it relates to a wife experiencing vaginal dryness during intimacy, it is painful. Okay? And so wives, express and share that with your husbands, and husbands, please understand, because it doesn't last. Now, you know, we'll pray or what have you, but let me tell you how my mind be working. It's like, you know, I pray. You know, I lay hands on my own vaginal area.
I lay hands on it too, baby, if you need me to.
I know you will. But I understand that intimacy, you know, within marriage is a gift.
It is.
It's supposed to be enjoyed. You know, we
It's
should.
one of them gifts that I enjoy opening up every day, if possible.
Several times a day.
Well, babe,
Yes. You put it on out there, but yes. So, and you know, so we're grateful for that. So again,
Yes.
you know, just communicate how you feel, because how you feel matters. And likewise, you know, men, if there was something that was prohibiting you for a season, you know, there was a reason for a season that, you know, you could not perhaps perform. You know, I want to believe that the wife will be equally understanding,
right.
and encouraging, even to you. So,
Well, it's not too many things that we get down there where we can't perform.
well,
Unless you step out, you know, and you get some kind of STD. But no, we do get some stuff where,
right, because you know, men deal with, you know, not being able to, you
Yeah.
know, be able to have a, you know, they can have an erectile dysfunction.
Oh yeah, that part, yeah. Hmm.
You know, so, you know, there are different things, but nonetheless, based upon this topic here, just make sure, you encourage each other and just express how you really feel.
Right. So, brain fog or memory issues?
Well,
I don't think you experienced none of that. I haven't seen it. You haven't expressed that part of it to me.
Well, if this has any, I would not associate it with being perimenopause because I've had, just brain fogs. Okay. Just randomly.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, I will be attending to, I have in my mind, okay, I'm coming in the kitchen for something, and then.
Yeah, we all experience that.
And as it relates to this topic, though.
As it relates to this, okay.
And memory issues, to be honest with you, there are some things that I don't remember, but can I chalk it up to say that it has all to do with perimenopause? No, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Let's go to some of your notes, and then we'll come back to...
Well, actually, sweetie, you touched... Oh, I do have one here that I would like to mention. Skin dryness and breakouts. I noticed that my skin is doing different things. It's drier than normal. Actually, sweetie, even when we were in Carolina, remember I had the breakout on both of my thighs.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, I could not understand where that came from. I thought it was actually from the pool because I was taking some swimming lessons or what have you. But when I went to the dermatologist, she basically ruled that out. And she actually mentioned menopause and all of that. So when she said that, it kind of like alerted me of like, okay. And so I had already did some reading, and I actually got some oil that has vitamin E.
Come here, like you're leaning over there.
I got some oil that has vitamin E in it, and I actually started using that. And so what she told me that was excellent because I found a good fat. She called it fats to actually apply to my skin. So if you are experiencing skin related dryness or breakouts, perhaps finding a nice oil could help. So that was, and it was, oh my gosh, it would itch. It would be so irritable. And the only thing that would bring some level of calmness was cold water. Like, me putting some cold water on it because it was irritable. Also, I don't know if you have this on your notes, but bowel movements.
Oh.
I noticed that my bowel movements have begun to change or, change. Just recently, I went to the hospital.
Last month you experienced some constipation.
Right.
And that's never you.
No.
Never. You go to the bathroom, faithfully, 2-3 times.
Yes.
During the course of a day.
Yes. So.
Which is good.
Yes. So can you imagine being constipated and then just being bloated and all of that at the same time? So it's definitely a thing. But that bowel movement stuff, oh my gosh. So just this month, I actually went to the hospital. I went to the emergency room because even though I had brought an over-the-counter laxative, because I knew I wasn't going to the bathroom like I really needed to, but I kept, I was having a pain.
Yeah, pain on your side.
Right, pain on my side.
Right.
And I was telling, my husband, I was like, I think that's around my intestines or what have you. And so sure enough, they ran the test, did the ultrasounds and all of that when I was in the emergency room. And she basically, I thank God that everything else was fine, but she told me that I was severely backed up.
Right.
And so, so wives, husbands understand, and then to be just that bloated and not being able to go. And I also understand that there's some ladies that just deal with constipation on a regular. So stepping into perimenopause or menopausal symptoms and having issues with your digestive system, because all of that is connected, and bowel movements or whatever. So during that time, it may actually, be a little bit more challenging. So I take probiotics, which I think is, it has, served to be, very good. And I also started taking estrogen, because what's happening is that our estrogen levels are decreasing.
Now, you ain't putting the probiotics and the estrogen in my vitamin box, are you?
You take probiotics,
okay,
not estrogen.
All right, because I ain't trying to get pregnant.
I can't.
Listen, weight gain. Weight gain or change in your metabolism.
Both.
You experience both of those.
Yeah. And this is I would say that is more depressing, because, weight loss has always been a challenge for me. And so now it's even more of a challenge. And when you read on it, it basically says, so things do actually slow down. And so I think it's just important, and I'm speaking to the wives, to just give yourself grace and husbands, encourage the wives as well, because some may find themselves gaining weight. Husbands, you like what you like, you want your wife to be, sexy and stuff like that. Because I want to be my husband's attraction. So, I want to look, nice and, clothes on and off. Okay. Yes. And so gaining weight or what have you, and because it's just much more difficult. Men, y'all blink your eyes and y'all can drop pounds like it ain't nothing. Women, some of us, struggle a little bit more in that area. And so, definitely, I think that's an ongoing thing. But I'm just, I'm trying to just get back, to in the swing of things, because since, when I fractured my foot,
right,
I kind of been out of it. But just again, giving myself grace and, a day or 2 days out of the week or whatever, just try to get back into, doing some form of exercise, I think, will be just helpful. But why, husbands, your wives need encouragement even in that area. Because if we feel like, we are not, attractive for you or what have you, that makes us feel, at least some wives, because there's, some of us really, we really want our husbands to, look, and we still want to wow them, Being
patient and understanding is very important. It's key.
Yes, it definitely is.
We need to understand that, the mood swings and the fatigue are not just, something that she chooses to do. It's hormonal. Mm-hmm. It's not just a act. It's hormonal.
Mm-hmm.
The mood swings, the fatigue, and we gotta, be there for our wives, right there by their side, from their side, and comforting them, appreciating them. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Thank you, babe. But you know what? When we vow, if I can touch on this for a second, it says better or worse. And we say, I do. And when life happens, the question then becomes, will you? And so the truth is that, none of us ask for a lot of the things that come into our lives. However, it does not have to be a breaker either. Mm-hmm. And so there are marriages right now that may be going through such turbulence because of this. something that happens in life that will happen within women. All women will experience perimenopause or menopause at some stage, or, when they get to some stage of, or age. And so why not have the discussion and talk about it? This is not a breaker.
No, it's not.
This is not, grounds for divorce.
No.
Grounds for separation.
Right.
No, being able to talk about it. Men should also, and that's why I'm so grateful for my husband being here and just give his input. And he's able to actually share, his view and how, it causes him to feel.
Right.
Because again, it does have an effect on him. So these things, when life happens, it does not have to break us. It doesn't have to cause us to, grow apart from each other, but it can actually cause us to grow even closer together.
I believe that. Yeah.
So we made a vow. So let's keep those vows. We said I do. And so I'm just finding that we said I do on the day that we got married, but we have to be willing to say I do every day.
Exactly. Just touching on, even when you were speaking concerning, exercising, that's one of the things that can really help, practicing or encouraging, healthy lifestyle, healthy choices on what you eat. So that can also contribute to mood swings. Regular exercise is another thing. That can also help. So, yeah, releasing that stress in that form or fashion, it helps.
Yes.
It helps.
Yes. And thank you for saying that. And you know what? Exercise for me is a weakness. It has not, been a strength for me. But I thank God that what is my weakness, my husband is a strength for me. Because he encourages me, whether it's a walk. Now earlier on, I used to feel kind of ashamed and embarrassed because my walks with him felt like I was running.
But my legs are longer.
His legs are longer and his strides are, are longer. However, through time, because again, wives, we're not in competition with our husbands. Likewise, husbands are not in competition with their wives. We encourage each other because we are of the same body. So you don't want one side of the body just weak and limp. No, you want the whole body to be good. So my husband, he's a runner. I don't run yet. However, there will come a time whereas I will run my first 5K. My husband, he has, up the ante, has run, marathons, and
Just one marathon. I completed my first marathon on February the 16th of this year. 26.2 miles.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't, say it lightly because, again, it's something that you set out to do. And you did it.
Yep.
And I'm always, as God continues to, empower me and give me breath, will be that encouragement.
Thank you.
For you. And like I even said then, okay, what's the next thing you want to accomplish? He's a certified diver, y'all. It's like, whatever he tends to put his mind to or desires to do, he steps out and he's a finisher, and so that is so encouraging. So even if you have a weakness or may not actually like doing a certain thing, then just start with the thing that is okay for you. So if you're not a runner, walk. Be a walker. The key is to move because honestly, our bodies are going through so many different changes. And like
Right.
my husband mentioned, he talked about hormones, things being hormonal. But some form of exercise, even a walk, can help, release stress and those negative toxins that tends,
Right.
to build up in our bodies.
It helps. Yep. And I would say, man, communicating openly.
That's good.
Letting her, talk about some of the things that she's going through and, not really being judgmental on, what she expressed to you. Mm-hmm. Just really allowing your spouse, your wife, to express her feelings, what she's going through, what she's thinking, what she's been through. That it helps, it helps relieve that stress. I think that's key on being a good listener. And again, allowing her to just express herself openly without judgment is important.
Thank you. And he is really good because I'm more of the talker, but my husband is an absolute excellent listener. And so oftentimes that's what we really want. We really want someone to actually just listen to us, because there is nothing that you can actually do to change or stop, what we are experiencing.
Right.
But you actually listening to us talk about our experience, it really helps us, understand that, okay, we're not alone in it. But it also helps us to, to just kind of silence those voices that sometimes come to us to cause us to feel like, okay, well, because I'm walking through or going through this, then maybe you will be disinterested.
Right.
Maybe you won't, like me anymore. Maybe, you'll be more interested in, having a younger person, a younger, woman. The enemy comes at us with all type of little stuff, because honestly, that's the world that we actually live in. But that's why, like my husband said, open communication.
It's very important.
Is very, very important. Because the same enemy that may be whispering things to you as a wife is also whispering things to you as a husband.
Right.
So communicate those things. I think it, again, is important because my husband, I have expressed to him, just things with weight or what have you. Even, with all of this hormonal stuff or whatever, the mid area, that's a big component. It's like you gain a lot of weight in the mid section, the stomach area or what have you. I've talked to my husband even about a tummy tuck.
Yeah, you have.
But so again, it's just communicating and talking to one another is also important.
Well, babe.
So I think let me make sure I got all of my notes. What I kind of like wrote down was be patient, be understanding, be honest, be open, and be kind.
Be kind to one another.
Yes.
Always expressing your love for your spouse. That affirmation is
Listen,
important.
Oh my gosh. When my husband, even in the midst of all of this, because again, I have found myself feeling really low. There have been days where I felt really low about myself in all of this. And so when my husband, texts me a compliment, or sees me or, still, shows that affection, you know what I'm saying? Still, looks at me, and sips. Y'all remember back in the day, y'all used to sip, like, how you do it, and, all of those little things, all of that stuff matters, especially in seasons whereas we feel like we've losing it all.
I sipped at you earlier today.
Yes, you did. So
Yeah.
I think it's really important to amp it up even in those seasons. And our husbands want the same thing. Like if they're going through a season, they're going through some things or what have you, wives, come on, we can remind them how handsome they are and, and stroke them and affirm them even more. Let me tell you something. Encouragement sounds off louder in the valley.
That's good.
Encouragement echoes and sounds off louder in the valley. Yes, it means a whole lot on the mountaintop, but man, in that valley,
yeah,
it sounds off and it is even more effective.
'Cause you got all type of stuff just bombarding your mind.
Yes.
I just envision even, in that valley, where you have like boulders coming down and, all kind of distractions, but that encouragement, pull yourself up, come on out of there and it helps.
When you are in the valley, when you are in a challenge, when you are, when you are feeling low or you're feeling tired, I still find myself right now looking at the video of you finishing the marathon. And one of his brothers, running brothers,
from the running group,
was running with him.
Yeah.
Encouraging him. And then I heard another one of the running brothers, screaming, "You got this, Remy!" And I'm telling you, just listening to that, it brings tears to my eyes of just encouragement because, when you're in it, that's when you want to hear the echoes.
Yes.
When you're in it, that push. Yes. So husbands, encourage your wives in this season.
Do it.
Wives, encourage your husbands in their seasons. And if we are encouraging each other, let me tell you something. We are just fortifying ourselves.
Yes.
We're just fortifying the body because we're one of each other. The Bible says two become one.
And the two shall become one.
Yes. So
awesome.
Yeah. So we just hope that, these points and, from the husband as well as the wife, has encouraged you and will encourage you, in your season of change. But even in seasons of change, they're not there, to break you. But you can navigate those seasons of change with grace and understanding.
Yes.
So thank you, B-Babe, for giving your input and sharing with the people. And to answer the question that we started off with again, does perimenopause cause men to pause? This man, it doesn't cause him to pause.
Period.
And it doesn't have to cause you to pause either.
Right. You can enjoy it. You can enjoy one another.
Enjoy one another.
Yep. So, with that being said, thank you all for tuning in to David and Fatima Remy Live. We really appreciate you all just sitting down with us and allowing us to pour out our hearts and express, what we feel, how we feel. I think that it will add to you, not take away from you.
Amen. Hallelujah.
So, again, don't forget to like this video, comment,
and subscribe.
Until the next one, really appreciate you all.
Yes.
God love you. We love you. And stay healthy. Stay hydrated in the Lord.
Yes. Peace.